Hello, welcome to the podcast, Grief, Gratitude, and the Gray in Between. I'm your host, Kendra Rinaldi, and today I'm doing a solo episode. And I thought that today's conversation would be more for parents that are experiencing grief, and even for the teenagers that are experiencing grief in this major life transition that is going to college. So, I myself have experienced going away to college. I came to the US when I was 18 years old, and my parents were still living in Colombia, and so were my siblings. And so I left home at that age and came to the States. I did not know I was going to stay here for the amount of time that I ended up staying and pursuing my college career, then getting married and staying in this country. I really did not. I really thought I was coming for a year and then it would probably go back and go to the university there, but that's not what happened. So, um, my experience as a teenager going away for college in a time in which the communication was so different back then, right? It was writing letters. I would call my parents probably I think it was probably once month, maybe. I had a calling card. For those of you that are around my age, you may remember those like MCI calling cards, and you they were like usually linked, I think, with your phone bill. No, actually, no, they weren't because I lived with host families at the beginning, so I think you just had like this account, and so you would put this number, and then you would pay. I don't even remember how I'd even charge my MCI card, but anyhow, that was the calling card times, and letters. Letters were probably what I received the most and sent the most with my family and friends during that time, and that's how I communicated. And being away, not only from home, but just being in another country and adapting to that, adapting to the different host families that I had, because I did move quite a bit because I was in a dance group and we had different host families during that period of time that I was doing that. And then afterwards, then I did go to college. So it was definitely hard. But at the same time, because I was away, there was nothing really in my immediate circle that would constantly remind me of my parents, right? Because I was in a place that I had never been with my parents or my siblings before. So there was nothing around there that reminded me of them. Uh, so it was easier for me at that time to really experience this change of being away because yeah, I don't read. I remember being homesick and missing my siblings and missing my parents, but at the same time, I don't think that there were as many things that would constantly be reminding me of them. Now, on the other hand, for my family, that was a whole other scenario, right? Because I'm the one that's away. They're the ones that were home. They were the ones constantly being reminded of my absence anytime. They'd probably all get in the car and wait, are we all here? Things like that were constant reminders of my absence and sitting at a dinner table. So I'm sure that my absence was probably felt more by them than it was for me because I was the one that was away. I'm not saying that this is a case for everyone. I'm just saying this was my personal experience, and I don't know if we really truly talked about how much we missed each other or things like that. They were just very excited also for what I was experiencing as well. So they kind of focused mainly on that and not the grief of me not being there. So anyhow, that's kind of saying my story here because now as a parent, I have a child that just started college this week, and he's going to stay home and he's driving to college, which is about 40 minutes. So I am not going through the same experience as a lot of my friends. Some of my friends have kids that are going to school here in the States, and my friends don't live in the States, so they will be having that kind of similar experience of what I had. Their kids will be having similar experience of what I had, that I was here and my parents were away. Um, and then some friends are, having kids go to just another state. Regardless, just a lot of changes. And something that is so important to acknowledge is really truly the grief that can be felt in this life transition. And the reason that I want to bring up that word grief is because even though we are so excited about this life transition for them and what they're going to be experiencing, and we have these emotions of joy and excitement for them, we can still be feeling sadness and grief. And I want to make sure that any parent right now experiencing that and kind of being confused with these emotions, and for the kids too, if they're confused with their emotions, especially even after they go home and then they leave again and then they realize like what their family has been doing and up to when they were not there and the things that they're missing out, they will also be experiencing grief. So, naming what the emotion is and knowing how complex it is, and that it really does have so many different layers to the emotion. And there's so many different emotions that accompany grief that are not grief is not always by it's no, it's not always, no, it's never by itself. There's just so many different other emotions that can be felt alongside grief, and that it's okay to feel grief and also to be excited for your kids. It's not a or, it's and. So grief and excitement, grief and joy for what they're going to do next. So just honestly honor that you're going through these emotions. Honor your emotions, honor the emotions of your child. If when your child left, they already started to, 'cause this has happened already in some of the conversations I've had, if they started to what's this word? To regret having moved out of state, for example, and they're too far and they want to come home, honor that that emotion is valid, but help them navigate through that and let them know that change can always be hard. Change can be hard and can bring about a lot of these different emotions, and that it's normal for them to feel the way that they're feeling. Especially too, if they've left behind also, aside from you, they might have left behind a girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever that is in another state, and their own friends, their circle of friends is completely different as well. Everybody has spread out. So there's a lot of grief that goes on in this life transition of going to college, both for the kids and for the parents. And I just want you to know that you are seen, and your emotions are valid, and that it is important for you to talk about these things, with the emotions that you're having with people around you that may be going through the same thing and these changes, as well as being honest with your kid. If you validate that you're excited for them but that you also miss them, then it also validates their emotions as well. So I just thought I'd say that and share that. And this is a really short episode about that topic. And I would love to be able to hear back from you and any feedback and thoughts. And if by chance you really are struggling right now with this particular life transition in your life and you feel that you want accompaniment in this life transition, please reach out. I'd be honored to do a 15-minute discovery call and just find out if walking alongside this path with you is the right fit for you. So, yeah, let me know. Send me an email, griefgratitudepodcast@gmail.com, and we can figure out a time to meet up and chat via online technology. Sending you all so much love, and I Can't wait to hear back from you and hear all your stories of growth and grief as well as gratitude. Much love.